I trimmed some flowers off plants in the garden so that we can take a look at differences in inflorescence structure. So let's take a peek over at the table. We'll start with the nasturtium again. Now, we took a look at nasturtiums with determinate and indeterminate plant habit, and I mentioned there that it's indeterminate. Down here where I have my finger is the node where the inflorescence arose, and it has a very long stalk ending in a very nice showy flower. Now, this is what's called a solitary inflorescence, in that it just has one flower. This very long stalk-like piece is called a peduncle. So in this solitary flower we have a peduncle that attaches to the node and extends up to support the flower. Contrast that to, I'm going to lose some materials here, this particular plant, and yes, this fluff at the end is an inflorescence. It's certainly not just a simple solitary flower, but rather a complex inflorescence. It's actually hard when you take a look at this plant to say where is the terminal node on this thing. It is a determinate plant. Here's a node. This looks like a node with an inflorescence and a leaf that came from it. And then after that, this is probably the terminal node, and we have a compound inflorescence. The actual flowers are right at the tip, these little bits of fuzz. And there are all kinds of stalk-like pieces before you get back to this original node. So what are the names of all these things? Well, all of these little flowers are called florets. So if you have a complex inflorescence like this, all of the little individual flowers are florets. And the floret is attached, the little stalk that attaches the floret to the next part is called the pedicel. So you have a floret which is held up by a pedicel. Now you have all kinds of little branches that end up supporting those pedicels, and that structure is called the rachis structure. Same word that we had with compound leaves, by the way, where they have a rachis to which the petioles and leaflets are attached. In this case, in an inflorescence, we have, if we assume that this is the final node here, perhaps, then this little bit will be a peduncle, and then we have all kinds of rachises that branch and branch and branch all the way to the pedicel that ultimately holds up the final floret. So what a difference between a very simple example of a nasturtium solitary flower compared to this complex